Hi, this is John Ogilvy. I've spent this summer of 2020 helping a government department deploy a protected B Microsoft 365 system, and we're going to talk about that today. It is not as hard as you might think. What's in M365? Well, fundamentally, it's what used to be called Microsoft Office, all the desktop tools, Word and Excel and PowerPoint. Now delivered as a cloud service. So the applications are going to be in the cloud or on your desktop, and they'll work together nicely. It's more interesting because it also includes Teams, which is a collaboration tool for video and audio conferencing and other things that's become really prominent during this COVID time. It's also SharePoint, which we're familiar with because it's an emerging content management solution in the government. In OneDrive, which is new, and it's best thought of as an infinite personal cloud storage account. A couple of dozen other applications. A bit over a year ago, SSC surprised people by buying M365 at a mid-level E3 license for everybody. I've seen the number 400,000 licenses. In April of 2020, when COVID happened, SSC did a brilliant thing. They deployed GC Collaboration, which was a basic version of M365 that allowed the government employees to keep on working and collaborating during COVID. However, that ends in September of 2020. GC Collaboration, it was a temporary emergency measure, and after September 17th, departments have to move to their own M365 tenant, which should be Pro B. Why Pro B? Well, as we all know, most government networks and systems are rated for protected B because the information that we collect from people, sometimes, by law, it's quite sensitive. Now, Treasury Board has provided guardrails and guidance about how we can safely operate M365 at a Pro B level. And they've asked SSC to do a certification of compliance with these controls. The tricky bits of this are that we trust GC users, our departmental users, we trust our devices, we trust our network, although we're starting to think about how to trust the internet a bit more. So what would a minimum viable M365 look like for the government? We're going to focus on getting Teams and SharePoint and OneDrive out there, and we're going to do it for internal users only. These are people who are within our Active Directory, our departmental Active Directory. There can be guest users, but we want to make sure that there's friction associated with that and it's exceptional because these are people seeing protected B data. We're going to trust only our Government of Canada owned laptops and desktops. There is an EMDM solution under development by SSC for mobile devices. It's not available yet. And we're also not going to think about email. Email transformation is a generational project. It is underway. It will interlock with M365, but not today. And there are a lot of also in the box Microsoft applications in M365 that we don't want to activate immediately because we've never seen them and we've never done a security assessment on them. What would a security assessment involve for 365 in general? Well, Treasury Board has done a great thing. They've published 96 very specific security baselines for this product. It's a COTS off-the-shelf product, so what they did is they described how they implemented it. They were the first department to go live, so we're following them as a pathfinder. So the good news here is that if we configure M365 the way Treasury Board did, and SSC verifies that we've done so, we're good to go. It does not have to be complicated. The tricky bit is that Treasury Board bought the E5 advanced license, but SSC bought E3 for the rest of us. So some of the things they ask us to do are going to be additional purchases for most government departments. Here's a list of them. I won't drill down. Microsoft managed to get their preferred Microsoft solutions written into the documentation. There are alternatives. My observation here is that security is an onion, and your IT security people don't expect you to go out and buy all this stuff. You can add layers as you can afford them and let them tell you when you're good to go. So you're probably in good shape to get your Protected B M365 ATO. You're going to rely on SSC to provide the ATOs for email and for mobile devices. Less work for you. You are going to have to do the ATO for the core Teams, SharePoint, OneDrive piece. But the Microsoft 365 apps, the Office applications, are probably not going to be something that you worry about. We've used it in the past, and that will continue in the future. To sum up, I think it's not that difficult for you to roll out your own application. You already have it. It's software as a service. There is nothing to install. You have to configure it, activate the licenses, and then bring your users on board with training. There is no requirement to have your foundational Azure ATO in place. M365 is SaaS. It does not require that. Your first step will be to have SSC give you a couple of administrative accounts, and you're going to use them to configure the tenant, which is really an Active Directory configuration primarily. And then SSC is going to verify those against the guardrails, and then you're good to go, subject to your security people giving you a thumbs up. So that's the process. I'm John Ogilvie, and I'll talk to you soon about something else.